We're very excited to start this series of videos and present the results on our report on building standards. This is the termination of over 2 years of work where we compare different building standards, including passive house standards and energy code standards, and see how they provide value to buildings and to projects, not just in terms of energy, but also in terms of building quality, embodied carbon, and so forth. So in this series of videos, we have this outline, and then we're going to jump into looking at why this matters, why looking at different building standards is very important for project teams to decide what to pursue when they start a new project, and also why it's important to compare different building standards as apples to apples. Then we're going to look at how we compare these standards, and we did that on the basis of a number of projects that we modeled these different standards for. So we're going to see what those projects are and how they help us compare these standards. Looking at the analysis tools that we used, as well as what assumptions we made in making that modeling. Then looking at what metrics we used in the comparison, not just energy performance. We also looked at embodied carbon, of course, but we also looked at how buildings can provide thermal comfort, for example, or they can enhance indoor air quality, or they may fail at that, as well as how they can make buildings more resilient and durable than others. Then we're going to dive deeper into the building standards that we have used in this comparison. It's over a dozen different building standards. It includes the Code Minimum Energy Standards, IECC. We looked at the Energy Star. We looked at the DOE Zero Energy Ready Standard, the Pretty Good House. We looked at California Title 24, as well as FUSE and PHI for passive house. We're going to look at where these building standards are applicable and where not, and what requirements they bring to the table when you try to implement them to different projects. In looking at metrics for building quality, we covered thermal comfort and how different building standards allow buildings to be more or less comfortable, and there's a lot of expectation there that comfort is going to be the same or similar across different building standards, and that expectation is misplaced. We are going to look at different metrics for indoor air quality and how different building standards address that. Then we're going to look at resiliency and durability that buildings receive after being built according to a certain standard. Then we're going to look at operational energy, like how much energy or how much less energy certain building standards allow building to become more efficient, and how also looking a little bit into the future at the evolution of the just regular energy code, the IECC. Then we are looking at the breakdown of typical heat losses in buildings, and there's some surprises there compared to the narrative that you may find elsewhere online. Then looking at how different building standards address heating and cooling differently, but how in fact heating and cooling impact buildings in all climate zones. The evolution of net zero in buildings, this is something that is evolving quite a bit, especially with the introduction of electric vehicles, EVs, and how the concept of net zero has changed recently. And in fact, part of the results of the report, we're going to look closely at how different building standards make buildings more efficient in that they reduce the need for heating and cooling. That is very true for passive building standards, and of course that has different impact if you're looking at warm climate zones and cold climate zones. That leads to the reduction of operational energy, especially when we start considering heat pumps. And also, we want to look at have a look in the future where electric vehicles are going to be more widely adopted. So for this report, we looked at a future scenario where all buildings were all electric, all buildings had heat pump, heating and cooling, and all buildings ended up having electric vehicle charging on site. That is the direction the market is going. So this report is shed some light into 5 years from now. Then we're going to look at how different building standards compare to each other in terms of energy, but also in terms of embodied carbon as well as resource efficiency. The concept of resource efficiency, resources being money, carbon, materials, time, effort, is something we're going to cover in a specific video. Then we're going to come to the conclusions, looking at a single report summary, and then trying to make things more digestible. We have some scoring results, seeing how the different standards compare to each other in this comparison. So again, this is the result of a couple of years' work. I'm very excited about starting this series of videos, and I look forward to your comments. So please in this video. Thank you.